Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MCU Crew. We've got Jesse dancing.
Yo, my God, look at these. Look at these. Like, can I just tell you, it's not every Monday you get to wake up and look at two beautiful ass people, stare at them directly on your screen, and just be like, damn. Yeah, I'm referring to Jasmine and Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Behind you, JP.
Yeah,
like
no,
right
I
behind
started,
you.
I
Right
started to
behind.
say.
Yeah. Right,
I
right
didn't,
behind you. Yeah.
I was looking
I
around.
was gonna
Right.
say points for I'm me not being half asleep today.
Yeah. You know what?
I'm
Killing
like
it. You
awake.
know, it was the fact that I woke up and the first thing I saw was a notification of a tweet from JP that was like, Thor Love and Thunder. I was like, oh my
Oh,
God.
that was Reggie.
I'm
I
I
was
ready.
asleep. That
resisted
was Reggie.
I I resisted every urge to watch it, which was hard. Like I was like,
See,
ooh,
here's the situation.
uh,
I have to watch it because when we watch it on here, I don't actually watch it. If that makes sense.
oh, have you already
Well, are
seen
you
it?
running things in the background?
I've seen the trailer. I'm curious to see what you
I'm like
guys
hype,
think.
dude. I'm hype.
Yeah, it's got like 5 million views already in the first hour or some shit. It's people are.
That's not as much as Spider-Man though.
Is
Wasn't
it?
Spider-Man something ridiculous?
I don't
Spider-Man like in
know.
the first I've never seen a trailer go up in views as fast as No Way Home. Maybe I'm
Uh,
wrong, but I'd
Well, that,
never
that
seen
movie
a
also
trailer
had
go up in views. It
that
had a
movie had
lot
like
of
2
fandoms
years of
converging on
hype.
it.
well, it
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
like
said yeah, it had 355 million views globally in its first 24 hours.
Yeah, it was in I've never seen anything like that.
That's
You
pretty
had
insane.
Sam Raimi fans converging with MCU fans. Like it was just like a unique moment in history. I probably sound like a huge fucking geek saying that, but I've never seen a trailer go up in views that fast. I was just like, "Oh, oh,
it was.
what?
I
What?"
mean, but you're right though. It you don't sound crazy. It literally is like
That's pretty insane.
that was people went to that literally just to see if they'd be confirmed that other Spider-Man would be in that movie.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
Because the theories surrounding that film were
oh yeah.
Yeah.
so vast and I feel like every time I refresh the page, it would go up like another 5 million. Like not even a small amount. I would like refresh and it'd be like 25 million, refresh 35 million. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
This is
Well, this is
growing
a
too fast.
teaser. I think maybe the trailer will do. I do want to reinforce because I went in like the trailer's dropped. No, the teaser has dropped. I want to
What are you trying to say?
reinforce that.
Don't spoil us.
Oh,
Don't spoil
I'm
us. What are
not
you trying to
spoiling it
say?
for you.
What are you
I'm
trying to
the
say?
trailer?
I'm setting expectations. It's a
What are you?
teaser. It's
I thought we
good.
had a
I liked
trailer.
it, but it's a teaser. It's not a trailer.
What you trying to say, JP? You know what? I don't want to know. I'm
It's
not going
it's
to
a
read
long
into this.
teaser, but it's a
No,
teaser.
I'm not reading in.
Yeah.
Not reading
I
into
mean, we
this.
could just jump straight to it if you really want. There's no. I have not looked at news yet. I was trying to get Jesse to host the show, but that motherfucker doesn't read his DMs. So let's just do it.
What? Were you really?
Yeah,
Is that a thing that was going to happen?
it was a thing. Yeah.
Oh
I don't
well,
know
you
how
know
long.
what?
My biggest worry is how long my
your
voice
tea.
holds up.
Drink your tea, throat man. It'll be
Mhm.
fine. By the way,
Did you just
before
call
we
him
jump into this, I'm going to give
Throatman?
Throat Man, that's my
throat
name.
man, Throatmaster.
I
Is what I'm
saw a
gonna call him
video
from
the
now
other
on.
day of someone that was on a
Okay,
cruise
don't
playing a
call someone
trombone, by the way.
Throatmaster.
And every time he blew into the trombone, his neck goes whoop and like blew up.
Yo,
It was like a
yeah,
chameleon
yeah.
guy. It was weird as fuck.
There's
crazy.
But don't call someone Throatmaster. That's not what that means.
Well,
what are you talking about, Bronze?
what's Bronze? What are you referring to?
What are you referring to?
I don't know, Bronze. It's a totally normal thing to call someone that.
I'm sorry. What are you talking about? What are you?
Chat, help me out here. Don't make me spell it out.
That's a weird thing.
You're gonna spell it out? T
Spell what out?
H R O A
Y'all are
T.
being nasty.
What? We're not being anything. I'm
What are you
just
doing?
sitting
We're
here
talking about
drinking
tea?
my tea because my throat
Yeah, we're
hurts.
talking about JP's love of tea.
Yeah. My
It's throat coat powers.
the tea actually. Aaron is like a tea connoisseur. The tea packet was labeled throat. Oh God, what was it? Throat
I have
throat
tea here called
massage,
throat.
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah,
It was
I have
really
tea here
weirdly
called
named.
throat coat. Yeah, I got throat coat tea. Yeah,
Yeah.
You
Oh
swallow
yeah,
it down.
no.
Coats your throat.
The-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What once again?
Yeah. How else are you gonna become
I
the
also
Throatmaster?
enjoy this. Okay.
What? 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 I
I'm
don't.
Also,
I'm not
Jesse,
touching it.
if I
I'm not
was
touching it.
if I was a superhero named Throatmaster, it would probably be Throat Goat. That would be my name.
Can we
I'd
not
be
do this?
the Throat
Can we
Goat.
The
not?
greatest throat of all time. Throat goat. Really quickly before we jump into this, I want to
Okay.
talk about another movie that I saw this past week. I went and saw the Sonic movie. I just want
Oh.
to point this out to everyone.
Okay.
Whatever. It's it was the Sonic movie, but it was made 20,000 times better by the fact that there were only 6 people in the theater, myself and friends, and then a family behind us. And it was a little kid. And that little kid
Loved
was
it.
the biggest Sonic fan I've ever
That's great.
seen in my life. Every time Sonic was on the screen, lost his mind. Every time, like at one point, he's like, "Knuckles likes to punch things," and Dad was like, "Yes, he does." It was, you know what? Normally, I'd be
That's
like,
great.
"Oh, kid, it made the movie 12 billion times better." Just saying that. Just putting it out there. He was like, "That guy has 2 tails." I was like, "Yes, he does, kid. Yes, he does." It was great. So made the movie way better.
Some-
That is my review of the Sonic the
Great.
Hedgehog 2 movie.
Great.
Sometimes like having kids in a movie theater like legitimately does make it better.
Save that film for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really remember the Pokemon movie. I think I was really young when I went. My brother was like super into Pokemon, and I was like just kind of copying him because I don't think I was like old enough to like really understand the game. And like my mom still talks about the story, but like she took us to go see the movie, and like halfway through the movie or towards the end, once again, don't remember the actual film. Somewhere towards the end, a little kid stood up and was like, "Ash is dead!" And everybody in the movie theater just started like laughing because this kid was having like a breakdown in real time of like, and his parents were like, "Sit down." And my mom's like, he was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Yo, I wish I was old enough to remember this because that would be one of my fondest memories. This kid like clutching his hair, asking why they killed Ash. Like, why?"
Jesse,
Yo,
would you like me to elevate Sonic 2 for you?
elevate it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you could.
Watch the entire movie of Sonic 2, but instead of Tails looking like he does in the film, make him look like that.
Imagine that. Yes. I saw that poster and I laughed very hard.
It's the best. It's my favorite image on the internet today. I think.
Garfox.
Past week, really.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh man.
I don't even know where
Yeah,
that's from. I don't even know where that is.
I think that's the
I'm
Carfax
not-
guy.
Yeah.
Is it?
That's that terrible Carfax. Yeah. They used to have a puppet. They had a CGI version, and then they made a puppet, and it's awful. It's terrifying.
Carfax Fox. Oh, maybe.
I'm telling you, that's what it is. They made a puppet version of it.
Let me Google puppet here.
Oh, it's awful.
Maybe.
I will simply say that getting a group together to go see the Sonic movie of a bunch of 30-plus-year-olds was a hard ask. A lot of people are like, "Nah, I'm good." I was like, "Come on, it'll be fun." No, it was a hard ask for people. I will say that, the stuff that was cringe was as cringe as the first movie, and the stuff that was like fun was
Oh my God.
it sucks
Oh
so
my God.
badly.
Oh my God.
It's I want that. I want to buy that.
That guy
Why would you put
100%
that
says
cursed object
chaos
in your house?
reigns.
Because if someone tried to rob us and by coming into our house, they would see that and be like, "I'm fucking out of here. This is too weird. I'm out." It's a self-defense mechanism.
That's true. No, that's true.
Yeah. Just put that on
You
like
know,
the
to
back
add-
porch.
To add to your point, Jesse, I think some of it is, like, you know, how sometimes the fandom of a particular property will make you not want to associate with that fandom or push you away.
No, I don't know what that is. What are you trying to say, Bronze?
Bronze. Look,
I feel like
I'm gonna.
Sonic and Dragon Ball Z are like both amazing, but the fandoms are so hardcore
A
that there's
little
times that you're
little
like,
much.
"Oh, I don't know if I want to get back into this," you know?
Mm.
It's 'cause it's like okay, so, like, the first time I streamed oh gosh, what's that game called? Undertale.
Oh yeah, no,
I was,
that's
Mm,
like,
yeah,
super vibing
you've made
to
a
it,
terrible
and
mistake.
then
that was a bad idea.
yeah, and then just saw the type of people it brought in, and I'm sure some of them are decent people, but the overwhelming majority was just caustic
Yeah,
over nothing.
yeah,
And I was just like, "Oh, I don't think I'm gonna play any game from this series again or make a YouTube video about it or do anything." And, like and same thing with, like, Sonic. I love Sonic, and I was gonna play one of the new ones, but the fandom's, like, really hardcore to the point that it's like, "Oh, I don't know if like, I like this game and I like this property, but I don't know if I want to engage with you." And
yeah,
unfortunately, they go hand in hand a little bit, right?
It's because those properties especially have a fandom that has evolved to be like, this is how you do this thing. This is how this works. If you're playing, play
Mhm.
this way. If you're doing like the maximum way to play is this. The maximum way to enjoy is this.
Yes.
Like if you're watching Dragon Ball, it's like these are the arcs that matter. Everything else is trash. Do not even don't even talk about. There's a way of doing things, and yeah, I mean that's that is 100% Star Wars now. That fandom is a mess. Yeah, anytime a fandom grows like too big and too popular, it always has rules associated with it that are like, what? There's rules
Or
to
the
enjoying a
opposite.
thing?
Or the opposite, right? Like, if a fandom is really niche or they feel like they've had to survive, I feel like that indoctrinates a certain amount too. So, like,
Sure.
I hate saying this, like, everybody knows Monster Hunter is, like, one of my favorite franchises along with Yakuza. Those 2 are, like,
Mhm.
so close to my heart. But I did start on the PlayStation Portable, where you had to, like, kinda do this claw-esque maneuver to maneuver the camera, and in America, at least, that game was not super popular for a long time. And
Right.
so certain, mentalities have developed where these people kind of adopt this, like I don't know how to describe it, like, this idea that, like, "Well, we have to keep this fandom alive because there's not that many of us, and da 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 da." And when I first started on Twitch, I had a modded 3DS that I had special ordered from Japan so that I could stream off of it, and anytime I did not play that game, I was, like, harassed over it. Like and I've never had that with another game. Other people, they just don't watch, right? Like,
Right.
"Oh, they're not playing the game I want to stream or I want to watch on stream. I'll just watch something else," and you just see a view count drop. These people would come into my channel, and I only played Monster Hunter once a week, and harass me and say, "What, are you done with Monster Hunter? Where's Monster Hunter? I followed for Monster Hunter. I subbed for Monster Hunter." I was like, "It's really simple.
that's
You
crazy.
don't have to watch me." And, like, and it's people that even when Monster Hunter World was announced, people that had watched me 3 years ago when I streamed part-time and worked a full-time job
Yo, you got
showed up
that
out of
Monster Hunter though?
nowhere that are like, "So are you going to be doing viewer lobbies?" I was like, "You've been following for 3 years for this moment?" Like, this is almost like a level of commitment that I don't wanna be a part of.
Well, maybe that
And it's
means that you're
actually,
very
like,
good at
turns
Monster
me
Hunter
off.
because like maybe you're just good at Monster Hunter. Because when I play, people are like, "What if you played something else?" I'm like,
Oh,
Well,
I
"What do
yeah,
like
you
I mean,
mean?
yes. It is
Me dying
probably
repeatedly isn't entertaining for
like,
you?"
if I had to survive, like, if there was, like, a Hunger Games type thing and I had to pick my best game to save my life, it would probably be that one. But, like I said, I don't play it. I'm not, like, competitive in that game anymore. I don't, like, grind that game the way I used to, whereas, like, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite and those old ones, I played them literally for, like, 300, 400, sometimes, like, 800 hours. I don't do that
Mhm.
anymore because I'm like, it's not worth being harassed over or made to feel bad. Like, to me, it's like, if you don't wanna watch something, just don't watch it. But even Jesse, you're gonna think this is hilarious. When I started streaming that game, once again, remember, full-time job, work, like, 50 hours a week, and I stream, like, 3 hours twice a week. I streamed that game one time, and I get a message from another Monster Hunter streamer that's like, "Hello, welcome to the Monster Hunter community. Here are some tips for your stream. Put your lobby ID in the overlay, put your hunter rank," and, like, literally
wow.
critique my unprompted, unasked, along
That's a
with an
yikes.
invite. to apply to their stream team. And I was like, I didn't realize y'all had a committee that watches every single new streamer that's streaming this game and decides whether or not they're worthy. I was like, yo, this is crazy. I gotta get out.
That's kind of a yikes.
I was
Well-
like, I gotta get out. Like, I've never experienced that streaming another game.
Can I tell
Imagine
you?
if I started streaming Final Fantasy 14 tomorrow and I got a DM that was like, hello, welcome to the
that
Final
would be
Fantasy
Jesse.
14
That
Club.
would
We would
that's
DM you.
Jesse.
Yeah,
That's what
JP and I would
does,
DM you. Be like,
No,
yeah, we would be like, oh hey, Bronze, are you playing? Do you want help? Can I help you? Do you want anything?
Yeah.
You're like, all right. By the
that's
way,
nice. That's not a
Uh,
list of critiques to better the Monster Hunter
I wouldn't.
directory.
I wouldn't critique you. I'd just be like, what can I do to help? You look like you need some help. What are you doing? Do you need help?
Yeah.
Can I help you? Do you want to play? Can we play together? Do you want to do something? Oh yeah. I would.
That's how it goes.
Literally last night, Octo was playing, and I was just like, "Oh, you're doing new content? Do you want help? I can run the dungeon with you." Oh, I run the dungeon, and then I waited. I was like, "Oh, do you want to do the raid? I can do the raid with you." And he's like, "All right, bud." I was like, "Thanks, pal." Oh yeah, I'm that guy.
No, but I feel
was
like that's
doing nothing.
welcoming. I don't feel like that's the same as, so here are the standards we expect from this directory. This is how we're all doing it. You need to do it like this.
That's
Yeah,
a little
well,
different.
I mean, that's like. That's
One
like
is
that
like, oh, hey,
weird
you're playing this game we're
gatekeeping
playing.
thing.
We're so excited. And the other is like,
Yeah.
how dare you have this many viewers in this category and have a shit tier stream? Don't you know we have a hierarchy here? You know?
Yeah, it definitely I think depends on the game, because recently I've been streaming Guild Wars 2, and there aren't like a ton of Guild Wars 2 streamers, and I'm frequently at the top of that stream, and like I'll just go raid other streams like, "Oh, hey, saw you were streaming." Like that's pretty cool. Like that is the extent of it. It isn't like, here are some tips on how you can be better at the game. They're like, "All right, that's pretty neat." I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, it has to do with, I think, the viewership of the game. Like Monster Hunter, when new Monster Hunter comes out, it is frequently the top viewed thing. And I would love to know what's going on, like say Lost Ark, for example. Like what that is like, if you want to be a great because that gets consistently a lot of views, and I'm curious like what that would be. I don't know. No clue.
The
but I feel like
other
it's a
one was For
big game
Honor.
thing.
I decided to play For Honor long after.
Well,
its
there's
launch.
here's your problem. You're playing all the games where it's like you're playing the games that are like, I would say, at a higher technical level. That
But
isn't
it's
just
also,
button
like
mashing.
I said, fandoms that feel like they're surviving. Do you know what I mean? Where it's
Sure.
like everybody left and we're the only ones here, and therefore we have to do what we have to do to keep the game going. And so you stream the game one time, and then the next day they're just like, why did you stop? Or if God forbid you critique any part of it, they get super upset.
No one ever. This must be like
This
I don't
recently
know.
happened to me with Tiny
No one ever
Tina's
does that to
Wonderland.
me.
Like of all the freaking games, Tiny Tina Wonderlands, I finally beat it after it had like tapered off in viewership. And I made a critique, which I think is a valid one, which is that you have to beat the entire game in order to respect your secondary class. I was like, that's ridiculous. You should not be unlocking features on the beating of the game. I understand that they want to encourage replay, but personally it's like D&D. It's just imagine that, like, you've invested all this into a character and you have to wait until you beat the game to reassign a point. Like, to me, that's just not it's not fun. Like, because it gets to the point where it's like, what if you don't like where you put that point? And I understand that that's the old school way of doing things, but games have come a long way since then. So we don't have such draconian rules. And oh my God, there were people flipping out who, once again, not a part of my community, people flipping out that I said this one negative thing and otherwise gave it a glowing review. And just like, well, you don't understand. The devs intended that you would play the game again. What the fuck?
Jesse's freaking out because I flipped her camera.
Don't worry, I'll face this way now to like change it up a bit.
No, you're fine. He's their center.
What's going on over there, you crazy guys? All right, cool.
She
Nice
was flipping
conversation
out.
we're having here.
But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I think Sonic has survived a lot of bad sequels. Let's be real. There was a dark time, especially during the Xbox 360 era, where Sonic was not putting out games that were popular or relevant or very good. They were usually riddled with bugs, a complete departure from the platformer style of the series, and just otherwise suffering. And the thing is, they had departed from that platforming formula in the past with Sonic Adventures and RPG style games, and those were good in the past. But then you hit the 360 era and they dropped a lot of bad games and kind of severely hurt the brand. So I feel like the people that have survived that sometimes forget that Sonic is a kid's IP. It's for
Sure.
and I'm not saying that as an insult, but it is a children's game. But they feel like they've survived the Sonic Wars of a handful of
I mean,
years where nothing good for that game or nothing good for that IP was coming out.
here's what I will say about fandoms and how crazy they can be sometimes. Yesterday I discovered that a man had seen Spider-Man No Way Home 292 times, and he set a Guinness Book of World Record for it. Yeah.
Dang.
And I was like, all right, you know what? This guy, I gotta see what this dude looks like. I gotta know. Because in my mind, I'm imagining like just a mess. Just a hot dude looks like John Normal Man. He is like, I did it for my grandmother. She said, go for your dreams and set this record. And so I did. And she passed away. And so I kept doing it. And now I've done it. And he spent like $3,400 doing this thing. He saw it 292 times. And he just looks like a guy. And I was like, I'm so disappointed. I was like, this is like, he just like, all right, well, I guess I'm good. On to the movies. And it's like him in the theater and all the people in the background, like, yeah, it's crazy to me. You know what? Fandoms are wild because I think the internet has this like, we all expect like a Sonic fan or whoever to be like a squirrely looking weirdo, but they're 99% not. They're just like, yes, I'm a
Mhm.
fan. I like that thing. And yeah, I'm always reminded about that because I think about like fandoms and how like, when people who are messaging you, I want to be like, that person's probably a freaking weirdo. But like, it's probably just like, I think it'd be very nice if you were to join us on the, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they realize like what
No, they
they're
don't.
doing. And
It's like a blind
I
spot.
yeah, I completely blown away every time I'm like, oh no, that's just like a normal dude. It's kind of like, maybe I'm the weird one. I'm over here like, let me tell you about Star Wars. Okay, so once you get through the High Republic, I'm like, oh no, I'm the problem. So yeah, that's let's watch this trailer. Have I stalled long enough?
I think so.
Have I stalled?
This is
Yeah.
what happens when you get Jesse Cox and Bronze Girl co-host JP. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This
you should have
Well,
is what
spoken
you
up to
get for
no,
me.
being sick.
here's the thing. This is what
Yeah.
happens when I don't want to talk. and you
Oh.
guys
Spoken
just
up?
continue talking. That's just how it goes.
Yee.
That's why I was
You like it,
uninterrupted.
chat?
Yeah.
You like me and Jesse meandering about random topics for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
There's definitely
It's
going to be one comment that's like, I thought this was the MCU crew, not the poo-poo
Oh,
crew.
100%.
And I'm going to be like,
100%.
got us.
Yep.
And then they're going to act like we're
Got
abusing
us.
JP. Poor JP is sick and has to put up with this. They are damaging his health.
I hope they go that far. I've never had anyone go that far. I hope they do.
I would love to be accused of damaging a person's health.
Yeah.
I'd be like, JP's throat damage caused by me.
Yeah.
Fact.
But it's
Don't
okay.
say that.
It's okay.
Don't say that.
As the throat goat, I'm okay.
No, you're not going back to this. You can't. Oh my god.
Full circle.
I sent you guys the trailer, the teaser. It's not a trailer.
I have it
on
ready
Twitter.
to go.
All
Ready to go.
For everyone else watching, it will be a lot lower volume, so we don't get claimed on YouTube or anything like that. So feel free to open it on your own. I will link it in my chat. We're watching the official Marvel
tips
one.
on how to stream a podcast? That's my favorite comment.
Wait, what?
There you go.
Would you like some tips on how to stream a podcast?
There you go. Yeah, they've definitely got some
I
copyright
see
music
that you're
in this.
podcasting. Here's 10 ways you could improve.
True. You guys ready?
Yo, I'm
Wait,
ready
can
for
you
this.
hear that
This
on your end?
this shot. What is that? Who is? All right, I'm gonna shut up.
What was that,
I'm
Bronze?
just trying to make sure. When I played it, could you guys hear it on your end?
No.
I just want to make sure because sometimes in the past.
Yep. All right, here we go. I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start.
Okay.
And then we begin.
Do it.
Here we go.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start.
These hands were once used for battle.
That was cute.
Now they're but humble tools for peace. I need to figure out exactly who.
Great. Great.
I want to choose my own path. Live in the moment.
He's out.
My superheroing days are over.
See,
Hey, Zeus.
Remember what I told you?
that's an important shot.
You ever feel lost? Just look into the eyes of the people that you love. Just listening.
Great.
We got the stinger.
Yo! What?
See, now I don't. So it was a teaser, right? I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't even mention gore. There was a dead god though. Did you guys catch the dead god?
That is straight up
Yeah.
a shot-for-shot comic remake.
It is. Yes.
There's
Mhm.
100% a panel of a comic looks exactly like that.
Yep.
Oh, that's so
You know
cool.
what I gotta say, just like right out of the gate? A lot of trailers, because of what we do and just being like fans, I feel like I have this inclination to sit there and dissect it. And that's the first trailer in a long time I just enjoyed. Like, I legitimately
Right.
just found it enjoyable to
Yeah.
watch. I did not catch myself wanting to pause it and look at something. I was like, no, this is just a great trailer. Like, this just
There's
is enjoyable to
That's
watch.
probably the first 30 minutes of the movie. Everything we just saw is only from the first 30 minutes of the movie. Apart from
Yeah.
there's the side by side shot with Korg and him standing there. There's definitely someone missing on the left hand side. This shot right here. Someone's right here. 100%. They've been CG'd without question. They wouldn't have an off center shot like this. There's someone here.
Sure.
I don't know who it is. Someone sticks around with them from the Guardians or something. I don't know what's going on there.
There's like I the way they set this up as sort of like I don't know, is this the last Thor movie?
Kinda, maybe. Yeah.
Because it definitely feels like a full circle, kind of like the opening where it shows him. I love young Thor with the old ass Thor outfit. That's so good with the winged helm and stuff at
That
like
was
2 seconds
so
in.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And then like watching him become an adult and then like through the flames. I'm curious, this scene where he plants the axe. I'm curious if that is either the end of what is clearly going to be the like montage / him leaving the Guardians. And then he's like, I'm going to go find myself. If that's that, or if that's straight up just the end of the movie.
I
Like,
think
if
probably
that's
where he
the end
leaves
where
the
he's,
Guardians.
yeah, I would assume.
Because
But
we
like,
see
what
him
if,
go back for it, right? And I don't think they'd show that unless something spurs him out of retirement, like one last job, and then maybe he sees that Jane is there and he doesn't
yeah,
have to, you know?
Yeah, so
there's
this right
Because
here
there
definitely,
is
is a
from the
scene where he
comic.
picks it up.
yeah,
That's a
that
dead
shot.
god right there.
That is the comic, if I recall. The shot there is Korg isn't there for sure, but
Yeah, he's not.
what happens in the comics is this is when he discovers Gore's going around killing people. And he's like, I messed up. I was out of the game too long and I let this guy kill. He's like, this dude, which I think is hilarious, this giant ass guy. He's like, this dude right here was my friend. I saw him like 100 years ago hanging out. And we were like best buds, and we were like, we passed by and waved to each other. And he's like, and now he's dead. And I screwed, like, I love that about this. That this giant monster, he's like, this guy was a friend of mine. Yeah. So I'm really hyped that they included that. That's like, I'm not even joking. I'm gonna have to find the shot. That is a shot. That is exactly how that dude looks in the comic. Exactly.
Yeah, it's this shot right here.
I'm so thrilled you have it. I don't have to look it up. Bless your sweet soul. Yeah, look at that shot. That's the shot of it. That's so good. I can't believe they nailed that so well. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
What a cute doggo.
Falagar
I'd be
the
friends with him
Behemoth.
too.
He's the patron god of the galactic frontier and champion god of the tournament of immortals.
Yeah, and he's like,
And he's
that
dead.
dude was my friend. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that, and I think that's how he gets back in. A thing that I thought that I noticed, and I don't know if this is just a Jesse immediately noticed it kind of vibe, but where is it? When Zeus finally shows up, the shot of Zeus with the lightning. At 52 seconds. That it's the fact that Zeus just has all these women around him is the most Zeus thing I've ever seen in my entire life. That is the perfect
that has to be Olympus, right? Like, I wonder.
whatever the Olympus version is. Yeah,
is
for
Olympus
sure.
like a pocket dimension? Is it a planet? I don't really know.
I don't know what they're doing with Olympus.
Yeah.
I have no clue. Especially now that there's
I was gonna say
Egyptian
Moon Knight
gods.
spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows
I
at
don't
this juncture?
But it's definitely hilarious that he's
This
like,
trailer has me
ladies.
thinking about like just the nature of comic book movies versus comics in general, and that like things move a lot faster in the movies because they have to, because these films
Right.
take years to make and the actors get older and they just kind of have to move things along a lot faster. And I think there's also this like inclination to like give people a payoff immediately, but him running through the forest, like it did kind of encapsulate like, holy shit, this character has grown so much in just like 4 movies. Like where do you take them from here? Right? Like
Yeah.
he literally had his like sort of fall. I don't want to say fall from grace, but like he had his fall in Ragnarok and recovered in the same movie, right? Like he lost his hammer. I don't know who I am. Oh, well, you're not Thor, God of Hammers. You're Thor, God of Thunder. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah. Like all in one film. And in comic books, that would have potentially taken years. Like, because that's the pacing. You get an issue a week, depending on which run you're reading, but a lot of times an issue a month. So it's just interesting to see it unfold where I'm not saying, oh, this character's arc should end. I'm saying at some point you want them to win, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. At some point, I'm like, yo, this dude's been through a lot. Like, him saying he doesn't want to fight anymore makes a lot of sense to me because he's fought quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what what the outcome will be at the end with Jane and with because by the way, go to that shot of Jane. Like,
it doesn't look like Jane.
It doesn't at all. It's definitely CG'd. Like her face,
her hair looks not Portman-esque at all.
Like just the shot at a minute 24, like that's CG, right? I'm not crazy. They CG'd that entire shot. I'm not crazy. Like that face doesn't look.
I think the blonde hair and just obscuring her nose, which is one of like the more prominent features on her face, would probably make it look like that.
Well, here's my question.
To me, it looks like her.
Here's my question: Does having Mjolnir or wielding Mjolnir give you the outfit? Like, where would she get this outfit from? Is like her? Does she go to Valkyrie or something?
I mean, look, the rules on this are a little like if you recall, there's a scene in Endgame where Thor literally holds his axe and hammer above his head, lightning comes down, and he changes into like he has his beard is all shaped now, and he has like a different outfit on. Like,
yeah,
that's space magic. I'm pretty sure that's
space
magic.
Magic.
It gave him the suit in Thor 1. Well, there you go.
Did it? Yeah. Then okay, that makes sense. Because that is the outfit from Thor 1, right? Like that's it.
This is 100% the same shattered hammer. And so I mean, there's definitely some sort of plot involving the town, because it looks like Valkyrie during her shots is like
Like a town
at
hall leader or
some
something.
yeah, she's definitely at like a council meeting of some sort.
Oh yeah.
And
What shot?
then
What time is that?
well,
Near the
at 59
beginning.
seconds is the back of her head, and then like a bunch of counselors
More.
speaking, probably somewhere in New Zealanding. There is a sign that says something energy in the background, and I wonder if that's related to.
There's let's see. I don't know where this is, by the way. This is crazy.
That's 100% Zeus's place.
You think? Okay, maybe.
Gold accents
100%
are the
because
same.
yeah, there's another shot of there's another angle where they're walking down a path, and it's that same place.
I'm trying to find.
But it's the what I'm looking at is 59 seconds. That shot where he's kissing someone on the boat.
Yeah, here we go. Right here.
I feel like that's Natalie Portman.
So this new Asgard, they've obviously had a glow up, right? Like there's
tourism board is
something going
there.
on.
Yeah, and but like at 59 seconds, a little bit forward, there is like 1 second forward. There is a shot of all of them together in like a boardroom somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And then if you go 1 frame forward, or whatever, 1 minute forward, she's there looking like super over it. But also, what's his face? The little bug man is in a like suit and
Oh
top.
yeah, I didn't even
Yeah.
catch that little plaid suit.
Yeah,
right here.
love that. And so I guess this is sort of like, what being the king of Asgard is about.
Well,
Which,
I mean,
I can
on the
understand
back of this
sucking.
car it says New Asgard Tours. So it looks like they just, come tour a space village or a space people place.
I mean, there's cruise ships back there
Yeah,
too.
and it blew the fuck up. I mean,
Well,
they
like, what
actually,
else
like-
is the commerce going to be? Like, if you
They-
think about it.
Yeah, they've also got like Asgardian buildings right here, like some golden
Mhm.
Oh
buildings.
my god.
So
Maybe that's a skirt suit? Chat, you could be totally right. Meek has a like one of those like plaid skirt suit vibes going. That could be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go to 102, this is Zeus's place
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
it could also just be like where all the gods reside, and this is just
Yeah, it
like
could be
Zeus's
Olympus.
wing. Well, not even Olympus. I mean, like all the gods that don't have a place. This is just like
Maybe.
the Olympus place, because that's a giant statue of Zeus, or maybe each.
Isn't that 2 red capes in that shot? Do you think both
Oh yeah, no, that's
Thors are there? Okay.
that's Natalie Portman right there,
Okay.
100%.
Yeah,
I don't know who
this
this
is
I was gonna say who's
Who are
on
you
the
pointing
left there
to?
then?
Might be
We
a
got
guide or
Korg and
something.
then-
no, that's Valkyrie.
Okay, yeah,
Nah, it's Valkyrie.
Oh,
you might be
the,
right.
the blue, yeah.
Yeah,
She just looks so much smaller, but you're right. That's perspective and next to Korg.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm very curious what the plot involving, like, where do the Guardians fit into this?
Well,
Right?
they're
Like-
just in the beginning. They just drop
Mhm.
him off.
Oh,
he's in
for sure.
He's in the montage,
Is this-
and that's it.
Is this shot at 110? Is that the trash planet? Because Goldblum's in this thing again. So
Maybe.
did they drop him off back there because that's where all the waygate things are? He's like, I'll find my way back. I don't know. It would also be like a weird crystal world. It's really hard to tell, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It might be like a crystal world. I liked. Did you guys catch this? The world's strongest Avenger trucker cap as he's working out.
Love
I would wear that.
That's probably going to be merch, and that's going to sell very well, most likely.
If it's not official merch, it's already on Redbubble or whatever. Someone's definitely bootleg that thing.
Yeah. I don't know what some dead
Chained
creature here.
Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something's going on there.
That's body reveal. Love that.
Oh, that is. Wait, is that Sakaar? No,
I love
Sakaar
that
didn't have
they
like blue
throw-
people.
I love
No,
that he
this is
throws
just-
a jacket on someone. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
They're
definitely
like
the
mid fight right here, because Peter Quill's
Yeah.
like hunched down.
Mhm.
This is when he shows up like, he's Thor. So he's going to be like, don't worry, I got this.
Yeah. They're all kind of there. Maybe that's the opening of the movie. Or I guess he's got to do the montage before that. I don't know.
I think we're going to see the montage at the very beginning. Remember how we had that like opener in the last one, which was him like spinning around in circles talking with Sutter or whatever his name was?
Yeah.
And you're probably gonna do something like that where Thor's like, I changed my ways. It's gonna be like you're probably wondering how I got here. Like one of those, it's gonna be one of those again, for sure. For sure.
Knowing Taika style, yeah.
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 Glad we get to see his goats as well. He's got his little boat. The goat boats.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like this is like
JP, I want you to know, I thought that your screen was my player for a minute,
Oh.
and I went to click the timeline and accidentally hung up the call. So I just want you to know, like,
Oh.
I'm dumb. And, there you go.
What were we saying, Bronze?
I do feel like this is like gonna be like he's gonna turn into like a background character that appears from time to time now.
Maybe. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's two things, right? It's one, if Hemsworth wants to continue doing it, and two, if like
Mhm.
Marvel wants him in the spotlight. On a cosmic scale, we really don't have anyone except from him or the Guardians, right? Like,
Well, no, but
Captain
we
Marvel.
also don't have okay, that's not fair. We do have Black Widow, but like we lost like Scarlett Johansson Black Widow.
yeah.
And strictly from a business standpoint, like I do feel like Natalie Portman is one of the few other actresses that could like carry like because it's just about whether or not you can put butts in seats. A lot of people will sit here and be like, well, why does Scarlett Johansson get so many movies? Well, because they know that internationally and domestically, like her name is one of the few actresses in Hollywood that has like enough pull to like bring people in. Natalie Portman is probably one of the few other people that has that, like,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's rare. So, I think, like, if they were gonna hand it off, this is the perfect person to hand it off to. It I hope that's not the case because, not to be shady, but Thor movies just got good, and it sucks that, like but
Yeah.
it's been, like, what? A decade that they've been coming out.
Uh-huh.
So, like, how long do you stay in that ridiculous shape?
I mean, Chris
Because they
Hemsworth
have
said
to.
he's willing to do it forever.
Yeah, he did
The
say
man
that
said
he's in it for a while.
I'm here for that. I'd be fine if he was old ass Thor. I'd be fine with it. I want to grow old with Thor. I said it.
I would be
I
too, 'cause,
said
like,
it.
let's be real, he's only had one good solo movie.
Yeah.
Actually,
This
Bronze,
could be the second, but, like, the other ones don't say it, Jesse. The other ones were not good. Come on.
no, I need you to know that one of the comments, I was scrolling down because I want to see what people said. One of the comments literally was just like, you know what? I wasn't a fan of the last one. This one doesn't look good either. I was like, whoa, wait. So is this the like rare? The first two were perfect. They were flawless. Timeless love stories. Did we
I guess
find
there's
the
a taste
guy?
level for everything.
I mean, I guess you're right.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I guess there's a taste level
They were
for
flawless
everything.
love stories, Bronze.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
That's surprising.
You're entitled to your strange opinion.
Yeah, everyone's got opinions. That's true.
There are people that put candy corn on pizza. I don't claim to
Can we-
understand it.
Can we really quickly dissect the shot at 43 seconds? This woman with blue hair flies in
Yeah, it's kind
with
of weird.
Thor, who is like a pirate king, and in the background
he just killed
is
like
a
a kraken.
squid.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a kraken on a boat, and it's probably her boat, maybe. But who is this woman? What are they doing there? And then she like swings in and they kiss. And at first I was like, oh, maybe that's Natalie Portman, and it's like a dream or something. It's not Natalie Portman. I don't know who that is. That's just like a person. I don't know what this scene is, but
Yeah, I
it
was low-key
definitely is like
confused
a.
when you said that. When you were like, "Oh, and then he kisses Natalie Portman on the boat." I was like, "Did I miss that scene?" Because I saw like the blue lady.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, oh, maybe this is like a dream, and he's having like a fantasy of like being a hero again. But this is just like he's on his skyboat with like he shot a Kraken or something, and another boat got destroyed, and he like, hello, I've come to save you.
Kind of weird.
Wild. This movie is gonna be crazy pants. I'm here for it.
Huh. Yeah, I don't even know if there's a comic book like character parallel to this, but
They really did make him into Fabio for this shot though, which is hilarious.
Without question, yeah.
Hilarious they did that.
Yeah, it looks good. It's definitely a teaser. I think, do you think we see gore at all? Or just get
Dude,
names? Do you think they just say a name and that's it?
Based on the reporting of what people were saying about how they did all the reshoots were of gore.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the fact that we didn't see him checks out with me. Like, maybe they're changing. I don't know.
They could just save him.
Yeah.
For the movie. That'd be kind of sick.
Yeah.
I mean,
what?
We haven't directly seen the implied villain of Words Are Hard of the last two
Multiverse
movies.
of Madness?
Multiverse of Madness, we haven't really seen.
Oh, well, that's Wanda, right? Like, they just haven't said it.
I think Yog Sothoth is going to be a part of it. Am I mixing him up with World of Warcraft? No.
No, that's
Yog Saron.
Yeah, that's Yog Saron.
Yeah. Oh my god. I think that there's got to be like I don't think Wanda's gonna be the big bad. There has to be someone they actually defeat, and they're not gonna kill Wanda. Sadly.
Yeah,
but
no, Wanda's like I was confused. My kids.
Yeah.
We're gonna get another one of those stories.
There's gonna be a big bad that they both unite against, and then Doctor Strange will be like, "I guess you're a problem, but you're a useful problem to have," and they're gonna move their own way.
That's true.
So there's got to be somebody that like they have to come together and like bring that person down because yeah,
there always is.
It's always bigger bad.
Wanda is great. Stop it, Bronze. I love trolling you people. Would you like some chicken paprikash?
A good teaser.
Spottiest accent, NA. Spotty. I love that they wrote it into the canon though. That they were like, sometimes she doesn't have an accent because she honestly the actress couldn't hold it. The other thing I think is like, and we also didn't see the villain for No Way Home.
We heard the laugh.
Green Goblin.
We heard the like, we heard the laugh and then saw the bomb. So
we didn't like see him. It was like implied. And in that case, in this one, it's been implied too, right? Like you see a dead god and then you see Zeus and you have to begin to wonder, well, what killed that dead god? Like, so we see an implication, but that doesn't mean they're going to show us a full shot. I feel like they've been starting to move away from showing full shots of the villain.
Yeah. Well, I think that's smart. Leaves a little bit of a mystery. They're kind of reframing how trailers and teasers should be in a lot of ways, I think, for films, which is good. It just sucks that leaks happen, right? So we knew about the multiple Spider-Men, like, what, a year before that movie came out? Something like that. So. Was there any news? Not really.
Twin cat things.
Danny Elfman was at Coachella. He performed the Spider-Man theme. Did you guys see any of that? That was a wild thing. He did the Nightmare Before Christmas theme, and he was like singing the song, and it was wild. It was fucking crazy to see that whole thing.
I don't know what had happened in Danny Elfman's life to make him decide to change from like creepy redheaded nerd to like buff ass carrot top MFer with all these tattoos. Doesn't even look like him. It does. If you were to tell me that was Danny Elfman, I would be like, you were a liar. You were a liar who lies. Dude does not look like himself anymore. I don't know. Man is almost 70. I don't know what the hell he did. I don't know what he did. But
Stretch, Jesse, you have to go feed my cat. He's being an issue.
Stretch, Jesse.
Yeah, stretch, Jesse. Do some stretches.
Okay. So
we can get into some Moon Knight after that.
Moon Knight.
It's pretty low on the news train. I rewatched No Way Home last week, by the way. Still a good movie, turns out. I didn't watch it 200 times though, so I'm not in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, you're not. Well, you have to actually see it in a theater too. You can't just like.
Oh, he
watch
saw
it
in
at home.
Theater. Wow. Okay.
Saw it in the theater, and he had people verify he was at the theater, and he had to watch it without getting up, without yeah. There are rules, I guess.
Yikes.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
That's a lot. Did you know,
Mhm.
Jesse, as the foremost authority that I know on
Oh, boy.
Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage, that he had his comic book stolen? Did you hear
All
about
of his
this?
comic books? No.
He said Cage previously owned a bunch of high-valued comics, including Action Comics #1, which is the
Yeah.
debut of Superman. In 2000, those comics were stolen from Cage's home, but some were recovered in 2011. He then went on to sell Action Comics #1 for a record $2.1 million. However, not all the comics were recovered, including Cage's copy of Detective Comics #27. In fact, all these years later, Cage is still hoping his missing comics will be returned. The actor is currently promoting The Unbearable Weight of the Massive Talent. A new promo for the movie shows him pleading for his comics. He just put out a trailer saying, "Give me my comics back."
I want to let you know, if you want to go see one of the most strangely down-to-earth AMAs, go to Reddit and go
I
look
read
up Nic
that.
Cage's AMA.
I read it in full. It was great.
Phenomenal stuff.
10 out of 10.
So,
Super
yeah.
into it. Super
Let's
into it.
talk Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Episode 3. I watched it last night. I watch it Sundays because that's the one night that Aaron's not working, and it's also the night before the show, so it just kind of works out. It doesn't work though because people are all day asking me, "Hey, did you watch Moon Knight 3?" And I just have to say no, and then we can't talk spoilers at all during the stream. Anyways, we can talk spoilers here. It's good. I thought this episode was good. I thought there was some glaringly dumb moments in it, though, without
Me
question.
too.
But
Thank you, JP.
it was good. I enjoyed
Yes.
the lore dump. I enjoyed seeing all the avatars, seeing a little bit of the gods. I thought some of the shots in this were like some of the most gorgeous shots in Marvel. Specifically,
Sure.
that star scene at the end was crazy. Um, they did it again though, Jesse, and I was excited to talk to you because they did it again. They did something on like an earthly scale, and no one's talking about it. They did it twice actually.
I'm glad that the people of, I assume, Cairo were like, oh no.
Taken aback.
I'm glad people saw it. But we have no confirmation what that spell or magic was. So I'm willing to give this one a pass, considering it's not a man coming out of the ocean. But they did, like, we don't know what happened. Like, did they actually rewind time? Did they just change the stars in the sky for like a spell so they could see? Like, we don't know exactly what that did. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like too upset about it. But yeah, I'm glad people at least were like, oh, I thought that was pretty neat. But then I remembered, like, I thought for a minute, like, oh my god, people are gonna lose their mind. Then I remembered all the other things that happened. Honestly, it's a good time to be a therapist in the MCU because
Yeah.
everyone is probably everyone is in full coping mechanism right now. They're just like, I don't. All right, another day where the stars turn back. Yeah, I don't know what that all did to everyone there, but I thought it was a neat scene. I thought it was pretty cool, and I don't need an explanation because I feel like it was crazy god magic and probably went back to normal immediately. So
Yeah.
like, all right.
I thought this episode specifically was great at showing how good of an actor he is. Because, like,
Yeah. Oscar Isaac is great.
Oscar Isaac going from like Mark to Steven without a weird camera thing. He just like switches immediately. It was believable. It was really great. While I think the whole scene with the Council of the Gods, which we'll get to, was a little bit silly, I still think his acting portion of him like screaming was very good. I thought it was a little dumb, but I thought it was very good acting. I thought that whole thing was weird. Like he's like, okay, we got to go in here and we got to make sure our story's all good. And then Kansu just goes in there and yells for like 3 minutes and nothing happens.
That was, I can kind of agree with you in the sense that it's really funny. Yeah, it's really funny to see someone say, "Oh, we should we should have a case against Harrow that's unsealable," right?
Yeah.
And then he goes in and doesn't have much of an argument. But now you can't say I'm hypercritical of things. In its defense, I think that that is kind of Khonshu's whole deal. Like, a lot of times, the person who wins a debate isn't the person who's right. It's the person that pulls a what's that dude with the wet ass P word? That guy that looks like a I don't even mother
What?
the old boy with the I talk like this and therefore I think I sound smart, but really I'm never ever making a point. Ben Shapiro, fucking thank you. I could not think of that dude's name. A lot of times the arguments he wins aren't based off of what he's saying. It's based off of how he's saying them. Does that make sense? A lot
Okay.
of people view someone getting emotional as I've won. See how cold and logical I am, therefore I've won. I have made no points, but I've succeeded in rattling you. And coming from the competitive debate world, like that's a thing. So Harrow comes in like this cold, almost like sociopathic type of dude, right? And I don't use that word lightly, but he's like icing motherfuckers left and right and does not give a shit. And at the end, he so much as confirms that when he says like, "Oh yes, I enjoyed watching people suffer when I was working for you," as opposed to um not Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, who's tormented by that, does not like it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, like, that's what he thrives at, is, like, he's very, like, "Oh, well, look at how emotional he literally calls him mentally ill, does everything he can to goad Khonshu, who, as we know from context clues from the rest of the Pantheon, is already kind of an emotional dude.
Yeah.
I feel like they've successfully made Khonshu a little bit more empathetic or a little bit more of, like, a dude you like compared to the comics because he's like, "Well, you guys didn't wanna help humanity, and I wanted to help humanity." It's almost kinda like Diablo in that sense, where it's like, "You all thought they were a lost cause, and I'm still involved here," and even at
He's
the end
Tyrael? Damn.
yeah, like,
Damn.
he very clearly is kind of an emotional guy, and there's nothing wrong with that, but unfortunately, just like real life, because he gets upset and kind of loses his point, no one says at some point, "Okay, hold up, Harrow, be quiet. Khonshu, breathe. What makes you think Harrow is doing this?" That never happens because that sometimes doesn't happen in real life. Harrow rattles him,
But
gets him upset, and Khonshu falls apart.
but the thing that upset me about that scene is they are gods. And so rather than like they're gods that did like that you're absolutely right, the human thing of like, oh, there's the shinier object was watching some dude break down and then being accused of being crazy person. And they were like, Mark, are you feeling all right? And he's like, no, dude, I am a mess. But this guy is, he's like, this guy just, yeah, I'm a mess. And I still know this guy's a problem. And they're just like, we're gonna, all right, whatever, you wacky dude. And
100%
I
when
was
he
just like,
says,
you're
"I'm not on
gods
trial
though. Like,
here." Yeah. But, like,
that upset
even
me
as
because I was like, you guys
gods,
suck.
they're very biased, right? Because as soon as Harrow comes in, Harrow, like, strikes me as, like, a real life villain. Because what does he do as soon as he comes in? He makes a character attack. Like, once again, this is my debate background kicking in, where I'm like, that has no relevance to anything. As opposed to speaking to the facts, the first thing he says is, you already had to punish Khonshu. This man has a criminal record. Really shitty thing to do. We see that come up even in current day. Oh, well, look at this person that brought up. Well, let's look at this person's history. They have a criminal record. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it still works in court to this day. To this day, we
But
see
they're
news
god like
outlets do it. We see
but
people
they're
do
but
it.
they're like but they're gods. And that's what I
I
think
think
I
the whole
like hate
point is
about
to prove
this.
that gods are fallible. Like they're
Well, and
capable of
again,
making mistakes.
if they want me on the side of Gore, I'm like getting there. I'm like, you know what? Gore has done nothing wrong so far because all the gods we see suck. They suck. Every single one. I've never like. It took 2.5 movies for Thor to be redeemable. All I'm saying is every god kind of sucks. And like, hey, Gore has done nothing wrong in my book. Get him. That's what I say. Get him. So, Team Gore all the way. Yeah, if they could take
Yeah,
out
and I'm
a few of
not
the Egyptian
trying
ones,
to say
fine.
that that scene wasn't frustrating for me to watch. It 100% was. Because I was like, "Bro, how are you gonna sit here and say our case against him has to be immutable, and then you go in and you just get mad?" But then thinking on even, like, I guess skipping ahead to spoilers at the end where he's like, "Alright, I'm gonna do this, but I'm basically gonna go to jail." It's like, this person gives me, like, kind of reckless vibes or One Track Mind
Yes.
vibes, like, when he
Yeah.
gets stuck on something, that's what he's stuck on, and he's not gonna so I had to do the benefit of the doubt and be like, maybe this was designed to be annoying and frustrating because sometimes that's how real life debates go. You see someone who's on the news who's like intelligent and has good points, and then some somebody's grandma who's like, "There's gonna be death panels," and they just get the other person like in a corner and they win. They kind of win. I use that word lightly, and it's not fun to watch for people that can see who the clear winner is, but for everybody else, it's like,
I just
and look at
it's
Hathor clearly didn't agree.
right, but it's also one of those things where like Hathor and any other of the gods that was present, all they had to do was just be like, "Hey, we're gonna send our person with you to go check out whatever's going on." Problem solved. Like, oh well, he's accusing you of digging up Amit. Okay, cool. Let's just send some people with you when you leave, because you're gonna be teleported right back to where you just were. So like, okay, there's so many easy solutions. They were like, I think mostly because they wanted to show the difference between Mark and Khonshu, they had to have Khonshu come and be like, "All right, I'm talking like this." For some reason, when every other god was like,
Well, it's because
"Khonshu, what's
oh,
going on, bro?" And he's like, "I am sounding like an
I think that was more
alien."
Mark than it was Conchu, because she even says to him like, "This is gonna feel a little bit awkward at first, but it gets easier." And it looks like it was
Yeah,
like
and
physically
don't
painful for
fight.
Mark when Conchu was talking.
JP, you
He
are incorrect.
he was the throat goat there at that moment though. Like
Oh my god,
it
no,
was
not this.
he was just flexing like crazy at that moment. It was
You know what I will
crazy
say
to
to
see.
me, what was a bigger sin than that?
What's that?
That I you know how you said there was, like, some stupid scenes in this, JP? The one that fucking, like, I don't know why, like, that made
Was
me
when he
wanna,
licked
like
the knife?
no, that was stupid too. But there why would
I just like that he got punched right afterwards.
why would they allow Harrow, who, as far as they know, is no longer an avatar of anything, because he did not agree or he did not admit to being the avatar of Amit, and it seemed like they didn't know that he was, as he's claiming to be. Why would they let him back into the pyramid just to gloat and be like, "You were right all along"? What?
Yeah, I don't know why
Why?
he ended up
What?
there at the end.
I wouldn't. Why is he entitled to that information? Why would they bring him back and be like, "Hey, we're gonna summon a portal, have you come back? Yeah, just so you know, you were right all along. Do you want to gloat over this stone?" Like,
Yeah,
I
that
was
was a
like,
little
"Am I
weird, I
am I
guess.
taking crazy pills? Why is he
Yeah.
allowed back in here?" And why, especially when they made this whole big deal to be like, "Oh, calling a council of the gods is like this big thing and all this." Why is Harrow allowed back
He
in? What right does he have
he might have
to be
been
in there?
he might like know those other avatars from his previous stint as
They're
the
like
Conchu
buddies.
avatar. Yeah, they're
They're
friends
like
somehow.
buddies. Yeah,
Like the avatars are friends,
maybe.
not the gods. And so
Right, right,
that's how
right,
they
right,
brought
right.
him
Like
in.
that
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, that guy wasn't the god at the time. He was just like
Yeah.
his friend, the human. I think.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
could be it, maybe.
I
Oh,
did
I don't
enjoy the
know
one thing
why
I
that
did
scene
very
was so frustrating to me.
a lot of interacting with the gods was frustrating. You're absolutely right. Like I was like, I hate them. I hate these guys. They suck.
I think that was
I guess that's
by that was designed to be that way.
designed that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I the thing there were two. There's one thing I loved and one thing I absolutely hated. Absolutely loved the slow burn of like, oh, there's definitely a third person in there,
Yeah.
which I think is great. I thought that whole like not arc, whatever that would scene dealing with the people on the rooftop
I thought that
and
was
then it
great.
resulting in like all their deaths was like, oh
You
shit!
know-
I thought that was really neat.
Jesse, that scene to me was like the most comic book scene in the MCU.
Yes, yes, it
It
felt
was
like
like-
page turns.
It really did. It really,
Mm.
really did. I enjoyed that a lot.
But you
Yeah.
know, the annoying cut is back now, and I wonder if that's to denote when the third personality takes over.
is.
Because
Yeah.
we went
I
the
think so.
second movie
Yeah.
without it. I have to say it's still a little disorienting, friends. I don't know if I'm a fan of it doing the whole like if they just figured out a way to do it different visually, I don't know what it is. It's just frustrating to me to do the shutter cut thing. I don't
I think we're gonna get an episode 5 that is all third personality, because there's a lot
Could
of
be.
shots from the original trailer that is like from the first episode, that whole town, all the different shots where it's him in like different angles. Like there's one scene where he's falling off the cliff. He's literally in the car scene, right? But he's falling off the cliff. We're definitely gonna get what happened all that time where those flashes happen, Bronze. We're gonna get those are like one. You're absolutely right. Those are the markers of where the third. Is it 3? Like, is it 3 black flashes that happen on screen?
It might
no, I
Whatever
be.
the
think
case
it's
may
a little
be.
more.
Yeah.
Also, what I thought was amazing is if you notice in the end credits, when it shows like all the different imagery and stuff.
Uh-huh.
There's one shot where it's Mark and then 1 face, 2 face, 3 face.
Yeah.
And I
But
was
the
like,
thing is,
"Ooh!"
I don't think that the third personality is the cabbie then, because the cabbie wouldn't be straight murdering everyone, which is what that third personality has done to the point that it makes Mark uncomfortable and Stephen Grant uncomfortable. I think we were surmising that it was cabbie based off of some stuff from the trailer and just like comic book knowledge, but now I'm
Right.
questioning that because I don't think, like I said, every time this personality has taken control, it's been to like serve Khonshu like un do you know what I mean? Unquestionably.
Violently. Yeah.
Yeah, like get the scarab back. And whereas now that we've met Mark Spector more, he seems to pull his punches. There's a moment where he's about to punch the kid and he stops and he slaps him instead. And that's not
Right.
under the influence of Stephen Grant. That's just him. Like even he has lines. He's not going to drop a kid off a ledge. He's a little bit more malleable under Khonshu's influence and he ends up doing it, but it's not his
Yeah.
base instinct. Whereas the third avatar seems like, or third personality seems like they will do whatever needs to be done and they will kill whoever
Mhm.
needs to be killed. So I don't think it's cabbie. I know originally we were talking about it being that, but this doesn't to me feel like an information gathering personality.
Yeah, I feel like if I had to imagine, Mark is the sort of middle ground, and Steven is the like, I just want to talk to you, and then the other one is probably the New York accent guy, like I'll freaking kill these idiots, right? You know, like whatever it is. I'm imagining the two sides, but like they're the angel and devil on the shoulder for sure.
Yeah.
And the flash where we see the bloody hand after he killed those people in the town, when he shoots the guy in the cupcake truck, all that's 100% going to be this guy. We're gonna because even though he's like, Mark, you're a murderer, Mark. What we've seen so far, Mark only is self-defense. He doesn't go out of his way to like hurt people. He isn't a like cruel dude. He is trying his hardest to like just stay alive. And we will 100% see like the messed up version of this. For people who want to know, the cabbie in the comics, there's just another personality who is like the streetwise cabbie who gets all the information.
Yeah.
But he's not a psycho killer at all. At all.
He's just
He's
street
just like
smart.
a street level guy. Yeah.
Someone
And so
in my chat
this is different.
says that they saw someone speculate that the third personality might be an MCU rewrite. Perhaps it's the Bushmaster version of Moon Knight, which would make sense because in the comics, Bushmaster is the fucking menace and he just murders like unrelentlessly.
That would explain the 3 execution style murders of the archaeologist because that also doesn't seem in line with
Yeah.
how Mark Spector would act.
Yeah.
Right.
So that'd be kind of cool.
Even though that murder is attributed to him, Mark doesn't answer when he says, "You murderer." When Steven asks him that, he doesn't really answer. And now they're kind of implying that Layla's father was killed by him.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like that's the third personality that lined up the 3 archaeologists and killed them execution style. I wonder if
Well,
one of them was Layla's father and if that was the third personality. But of course, Mark Spector would still take responsibility for that, knowing that like it's his body. Like he probably saw that they were all dead, saw that his hands were covered in blood, and was like, "Oh shit." Because I don't think either of them know that that third one is there. They keep accusing each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And and yeah, it checks out because if you're Khonshu and you see archaeologists digging up, say, the scarab that leads to Amit, you're gonna be like, "Stop them!" And so the Psycho version would murder the hell out of them and prevent it from ever happening.
Mhm.
So like it checks out. There's definitely gonna be a big reveal for sure. The third personality killed her father for sure,
Yeah.
100%, and that's why he like can't comment on it because he's already like in deep with her with Steven and how that relationship's going. But speaking of the part that I did not like is the let's go visit the guy down the river who like rides horses
was
and
weird.
throws spears at me. It seemed like way out of place. I
They
didn't
got a
like that scene at
Madripoor
all.
mention.
Also,
That was the first
is
MCU tie-in was Madripoor mentioned.
yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. Is it just me? And please let me know if I'm being hotel bronze. Or was Anton just like the most awkwardly acted character you've ever seen
Was
in
that the
your
rich
life?
guy?
Yeah.
He was I thought that there was gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is this dude who's like
He was
another
just
one of
weird.
those connections that's gonna end up in a bunch of different things and like gonna be in like he's gonna be this like rich evil dude that we'll see a bunch more. Man and his entire operation ended in 5 minutes. Like that was so I guess he rode off into the mist, so maybe he's still alive. But I mean
Maybe
like
it wasn't even his acting. His writing was just so strange. Like,
he well
oh, Hero
they
shows up and destroys this priceless artifact, and he's like, "Ooh, ooh," you know. And I'm like,
Oh, that was
yeah,
the
no,
actor that
he
passed away. I didn't know that. The guy that we're talking about is
damn.
the actor that passed away before the show started. I forgot about
Before
that.
the show started. What do you mean?
I didn't know that.
Before the show like started releasing, the actor passed away.
Interesting. So he's definitely not going to be back. But then
Yeah.
I guess like
Well, didn't we also
I
see him get like murdered? Do you think they put that
well,
in
no,
post?
but like I said, he rode off like into the mist,
Yeah.
and so
He was supposed to be the Midnight Man, which is like a foil of Moon Knight. So
that
he
would
was supposed to be a
explain this.
bigger character.
That would explain why it felt so weird because it did. The first half had a setup to it. Like there was
Mhm.
clearly a setup to the first half, and
Mhm.
then he vanishes, then comes back, then vanishes again. Then has like there was a lot there that I was like, this is just a weird scene.
Yeah,
Totally makes sense now if they had to like edit stuff
yeah.
to fit. Like, all right, well, he's
No,
not coming
it,
back.
it does. It also explains why I felt like he was playing it weird because that means they probably showed other stuff or and then cut around
Now
it.
there's edit. They
'Cause there's
edited stuff.
times where, like,
Interesting.
the emotion being exhibited didn't match to me. Like, there were, like, weird
Mhm.
escalations and de-escalations. Like, how do you go from, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" to, like, "Okay, I'm gonna straight up murder this person that, like,
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
be cool with." Like, that's like a there has to be some kinda journey there, right? Like, to go from, "Oh, hey, Harrow shows up and destroys this thing," to, like, "I'm gonna spear you."
Yeah.
I'm just
And I
like
think there certainly is like yeah because the beginning there's like oh is there like a Layla thing and then it was very quickly like oh there's some tension between the two of them and then it was like all right
Mhm.
we're gonna let you view this and like oh these guys are up to no good and then Harrow shows up and then it's like and here's the thing that I think is weird is the boat like again the scene I very clearly was
Yeah,
edited
who
weird
was the
because
boat that was behind them? Is that what you're
the
talking
boat
about?
that was following them they were like, "Oh, watch out! Harrow's men are here." That was just literally Harrow. Like like he was on the boat. He. What was crazy to me is the boat was so close behind them. They would have just like pushed. They saw them push the bag underneath the dock.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they turn around and the boats. I was like, "There's a lot of stuff in this scene that they like are not."
Yeah.
They're just like, "Let's move through this one quickly." Yeah, I don't. That
Yeah.
explains
No, there
so
was
much
a
of
lot
why I
of
thought it was weird.
inconsistencies. I also thought that
Yeah.
something that was strange to me is Anton's character to me, once again, I might be just misreading this whole situation. I felt like would be more inclined to attack Moon Knight over Layla. But number one, he doesn't even seem to be surprised or shocked at Moon Knight's transformation, although he's like completely enamored with Harrow's use of magic. And number two, they open the scene kind of like what Jesse was saying, where you see that like a setup and you kind of feel like he's like, oh my gosh, Layla and your new husband. Hey. To a point where it kind of seems like maybe he has like a thing for her, but then she is who he tries to attack over the villain, and that doesn't, once again, make sense to me. I feel like it would be the opposite where he would be like, "We used to have a thing, so I am gonna like, it's harder for me to, like, attack you over Moon Knight."
It's there's definitely a like I couldn't tell, and again, there's definitely a lot of editing. Like it all checks out in my brain now. Like when he first meets them, he's like super like Layla. Anytime you need my help, I'm here for you. And then she's like, "This is my husband." And rather than do the like, "Oh, a husband," he like immediately clearly knows that this is not like if she has a husband, it's the dude who's like a world class like soldier, or this dude is not her husband. But like immediately he's just like, "Oh, hi." Like dude like knows something's up. And so, yeah, I don't know, man. That entire like I'm super disappointed now because I would love to have that fleshed out more. You know what I mean? Like there
Yeah.
was a lot going on there that I wish we got more of because yeah, that sucks, man. Well, now I know.
Yeah. That's probably how that went. Anything else from the old Moon Knight episode 3?
I will say that the big takeaway I had, and I think I've had this the entire time, is that the show, unlike every other Marvel show, especially, I would say maybe not Loki, but every other one so far, this one feels like it could use 2 more episodes and is going twice as
Mhm.
fast as every other show.
We say that almost
Like,
every
every other
time, though. Then we're kind of okay with how it wrapped up, right?
I mean,
We got 3 left.
right, sure. And I think if you were to watch these all back to back, it would definitely read better as like a movie. You know what I mean? Like where you can do the world spanning, like, and now we're in this place, because you go in expecting time to just, you only got 2 hours to kill. But yeah, I don't know. There's based off what we saw in WandaVision and what we saw in Falcon and what we saw in Hawkeye, felt like there were a lot of episodes where things weren't happening. And this, it's like, we're going.
Yeah.
And I almost like crave a hot minute where everyone stops and like Steve and Mark have a convo with Khonshu that's like, "Bro, what the shit?" Like I just want a moment. And like, I don't know. It seems
Yeah, no,
very
I agree
breakneck
a
speed.
moment to breathe would be dope. It would allow, like, some of those themes to kinda settle, but I think, like, some of it is, like, editing and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, "Oh, why did they introduce that whole scene?" But knowing what we know now that that's, like, the Midnight Man, a character that's supposed to be introduced, because you know what bothered me is, like, it that Harrow shows up just to destroy their evidence to track him down and destroys the entire sarcophagus except which magically the 2
Yeah.
pieces of paper or parchment that needed to survive survived, but we saw that entire thing flood with, like, purple energy to the point that it cracked the stone. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, so not only did he do that and destroy this relic, but then walked away without like, it to me, that was just, like, plot armor, especially because the sarcophagus was open. So I was like, "How
Mm,
the fuck did that shit survive?" Like, and why the fuck would he not double check or something? Like, I don't know, but now it's like, well, that's because that scene was just there to introduce a new recurring character. And with
right. The
that
idea of
context
him
removed, that scene just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The idea of him not being like, "You blew up my one of a kind sarcophagus," it now makes more sense if he was going to be a villain who was like, "Oh my god, that's power," and like, "I'm this guy who collects." Like it all checks out, except it's going nowhere. And yeah, damn, that sucks.
Well,
All
I
right,
mean,
well, now we know.
filming had wrapped before he unfortunately passed away, so that they still might show up in the next 3 episodes. I just don't think it's gonna be like there was probably some editing in here in this episode to maybe make it not as prominent.
Sure.
But we'll see what
Sure.
happens in the next 3 episodes. So
Mm. I mean, like, look. Other than that, Moon Knight so far has been like,
I really like it.
I've been
Man.
having a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been having a great time.
I thought the action sequence in episode 3, like when he's getting stabbed by those fucking spears,
That was cool as hell.
I kept
That was
every
super cool.
time I like watch the show, I always go back to like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be the darkest MC. Like They killed a fucking kid in this episode. Like,
Well,
Oh yeah, they did.
the kid killed himself. Time
still,
out.
it's
Time out.
just
He
as
killed himself.
dark, maybe even darker, right? Like they're straight up murdering kids in this show. It's
Well,
There's
there's a
fucking
lot
dark.
of like it's like to me what makes the show super dark is there are huge cult grooming, indoctrination, and abuse
Yeah,
themes that they almost tried to touch on some of those in Thor, but then like swerved away from like what abuse and trauma is, right? Like that's a lot of people's main complaint with like the way they handled Hulk as like a comedic character and because that's somebody who's also not in control of their body if if you stop and think about it, there's a lot of
yeah,
parallels between that character and Moon Knight, right? Because this is someone else that somebody else takes the wheel and you wake up not knowing, like, not being responsible for what you did. But here we see it not played comedically, but played like how it could have been played.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying, "Oh, one is better than the other." I'm saying I personally enjoyed this one a little bit more, where they talk about like, "Oh, well, Khonshu takes broken minds, and then he does this to them." And it's like, but Harrow does the exact same thing.
yeah,
He's not approaching people that are like healthy and doing well in their lives. He literally approaches broken people who want to atone for their past, and then he grooms them and indoctrinates them into a death cult. And we saw that with that kid. 'Cause who else would be like, "I would rather die than betray this?" That's, like, some heavy programming
yeah,
to the point that, like, he's going after, like, children, young people, people that are easily impressionable, people that are dealing with, like, PTSD and are have former military backgrounds and, like, are clearly processing some stuff, and then he himself says that too, right? He's like, "Oh, yeah, like, I felt I enjoyed murdering people when I was your avatar, and, my success is because of you, because I came out of it, and instead of going to therapy, I decided to start a cult and murder everyone." Like, it's almost like he didn't rid himself. I think my prior, prediction might end up being a little bit more true based off that end dialogue, where I said, "I don't think he rid himself of Khonshu. I think Khonshu went and found somebody else, and he's pissed off about it." And he gave those vibes at the end, because he doesn't like, if he was enjoying murdering under Khonshu's reign, that is in like, complete opposition to what he told them, like, "Well, this is what Khonshu does, Khonshu takes advantage of people," and it's like, well, then why do you, like, sound like you miss him, and you sound like you missed, like, dispensing pain as his fist? It doesn't sound like
I
someone that would quit that job.
yeah,
originally when he was putting glass in his feet, the very first scene is the glass. That has to mean something. I keep thinking back to that, and originally I was like, "Oh, it's a penance, perhaps for the things he did as Khonshu's avatar, or he is inflicting pain upon himself to show devotion to Amit." I was like, I can't figure out, but like, part of me now is thinking about the fact that like when you because one of the big things about Moon Knight is we never are really sure whether Mark, Steven, whoever was crazy before he met Khonshu. And uh I'm very curious about like the whole idea of lunacy and lunatic and all the things related to the moon, right? And how
Mm.
perhaps the effect of dealing with Khonshu is it like really messes with your psyche and with your mind, and
maybe.
maybe the glass is how Arthur like keeps himself grounded because the pain he inflicts on himself prevents him from like becoming a different person. I have no like I literally have no clue, but I there's got to be some thing with
You
that
know
glass that makes sense by the end. I hope.
Yeah,
I recently rewatched that glass scene because it stuck in my mind, and you know what I caught, which was so obvious, but I missed it in the first one? On his forearm, he has a tattoo of scales, like scales of Anubis.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's had the entire time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never, like, really caught it until I went back and rewatched that scene, and then I saw, like, sure clear as day. I don't know how I missed it. Maybe we talked about it in the first episode and I didn't catch it, but, like, he has the scale right there on his forearm, and we were talking about, like, um, how he could potentially be Anubis, and I noticed that, like, Anubis was missing from that pantheon.
Sure.
But then I don't
And
know how it would also explain why they allow him back in, like, back into the temple, like, if he is an avatar of Anubis, but I don't know. That keeps like kind of weighing in my mind because like if he was an avatar of Amit, they would know. One would fucking assume they would know. They would be like,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's what he's claiming to be. But what if he's like an avatar of Anubis and that's why he summons hounds and shit and he's trying to get
Yeah, I mean, that the thing is like every time that people bring up, oh well, it's Anubis, I'm like, well, yeah, but Amit isn't Anubis. But it could be one of those things where his power is, like, because Amit, at least from what I know of Egyptian mythology, doesn't judge. Amit has no judgment powers.
No, she just eats
Amit
them.
it just eats the heart, and that's it.
Mhm.
And so it is full on like Anubis powers, like the judgment, the whole Anubis thing. The scales is what Anubis does. He's like, come on, let's weigh this shit. So like, it does check out for Anubis, but yeah, Amit is like Anubis' stooge. So maybe, and this could very well be the interesting thing here, is if like Haro is working with Anubis or is Anubis, and Anubis is like, I can't properly like do my job if I can't sentence people to a void of oblivion. Like, I'm over here totally useless. That'd be interesting if Anubis was the secret villain.
Frozen Ego in my chat says maybe crocodiles are just a shitty summon though. Maybe that's why we're getting to see the jackals instead of a crocodile. Could be right.
But I think it would be, based on the crocodiles that we've seen. You know what? Actually, never mind. I know why. It's because the idea of like a skeletal Anubis dog is like synonymous with Egypt. It's just an easy thing to sell to a wide audience. It's like everyone kind of knows the symbol of Anubis, even if you aren't big on Egyptian mythology. You know what that is.
Sure.
More than
probably
Horus
true.
or Isis or anything like that. It's pretty universal. So
yeah, could be. The other big thing that's going around now is that there is this Kang Easter egg in this episode. Did you guys see this?
What are you talking about? Show me this. I demand to see it.
There's a Kang Easter egg on the kid who throws himself off the cliff. His jacket.
No, boy. Here we go. What is this thing going to be?
Is the symbol of Kang's. Well,
is
it
Ramatut?
What was his thing? Yeah, they straight up this group New Rock Stars is who found this.
We confirmed it. They confirmed it. Okay.
Yeah.
So is this going to be one of those things where we discover that this stretches all the way back to like, oh, it isn't just Amit. It's Kang, bro.
Could be. Well, no, because that I saw that as well. I saw that comment, like, could Amit be Kang? But apparently, Amit has already been cast. Like, there's an actress that's been confirmed to have played Amit. So.
Right, no, but I mean, like, Amit is... This whole thing is a plan of Kang, right?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know, like, what would it be? Like, why would Kang care at Amit about all?
Well, because in the lore, all this could stem from, like, maybe the discovery of Amit being imprisoned and all this different stuff has to do with the fact that, what is that dude's name? Richards. Whatever,
Richards?
future Richard. No, not Reed. His great, whatever Richards that is.
Yeah.
Future boy Richards. The one that is Kang.
Yeah.
His great grandson.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
When he travels back in time, he becomes he gets stuck and becomes this dude, right? And whatever his name is, Tut.
Yeah.
He becomes that pharaoh. And so he reigns in ancient Egypt as like the guy. And I don't remember why he goes back. It very well could be just because like the dude was bored with peace and Tut. Oof. With but like he I think the plot is that the future's perfect. He like at least the way they're trying to do it in the Marvel movies is that he establishes peace with all the multiverse, and then he like goes back in time and becomes the biggest, most powerful pharaoh in ancient Egypt.
Right.
And uh that probably relates a lot to this stuff, right? It would have to. You would set up ancient Egypt and Egyptian gods if you were going to have a guy who was Rama Tut.
Right. I don't know. It might just be one of those like small Easter eggs that maybe comes back in future movies, or it just might be like super small and it's never mentioned again. Right? Like the prop guys might just be having fun.
Yo, 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 this is what the God, I love the internet. Oh, JP, here we go. You ready for this?
Okay.
All right. Using an army of robots and weapons from his time ship, Nathaniel Richards, that's who it is, easily took over the kingdom of Egypt, renaming himself Rama Tut. Learning of a radioactive herb, Rama used it to restore his lost vision. Don't know what that's about. Rama had the people of Egypt come to worship him and build massive statues in his honor and reject the old gods. Unknown to Rama Tut at the time, this angered the Egyptian vengeance god Khonshu.
There you go.
There's our connector. There's
Yeah.
our connector straight from the comics.
Could be it. But how
That
how
could
do
be
how do we
interesting.
get there? How do we get to that point in 3 episodes?
I don't know that I don't know that we get there in 3 episodes, but I feel like there is, the back of this guy's shirt, things like that. If we got to a point where we learned that the Amit stuff, like it's all the people that were helping Haro aren't like totally convinced cultists. A lot of them are placed there to
Yeah.
help him achieve this minor goal. And we discovered that a bunch of the cultists actually, like maybe even the 2 cops, right? The 2 cops who were like, yeah, we're goons. Like, what if the 2 cops are actually just like, you see them at another meeting and there's, a bunch of the dudes there and there's a statue and it's Rama Tut, but it's also just our dude Kang and it's his face. And that's like a post-credit scene in the end. Like, it could be as simple as that. I don't know.
I guess they do have to start tying together all the Kang stuff with the Loki stuff. Like, I guess they
Yeah.
have to start establishing that, like, oh, the multiverse has changed because this happened, and that would involve having to see Kang in multiple places.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, like,
maybe, but like I'm trying to think like timeline wise in terms of not the Marvel timeline, but just like the sequence of time movies coming out in the future, like how far off we are from the next big bad Avengers get together film. We have to be like 4 or 5 years away from that, right?
Kang is the end of Phase 4. Yeah, they have
Mhm.
go look at the list. Do you have the list? Like, there's a ton of movies between now and then that
Yeah.
we're gonna have to like set up for Kang. And the
guess.
last one is supposedly Fantastic Four, and that's 100% versus Kang. It's Reed Richards versus his like distant, relation.
You know, since we were talking about the glass scene, I actually have to burst everyone's bubble. I think it might be a lot more mundane than we thought because I
Like
found an article from Screen Rant.
bronze.
I know you got bronze, Jesse. That always happens to me where I have big brain theories and it's a lot more simple. So there's an article from Screen Rant with a interview directly with Ethan Hawke
Oh,
where he says, direct quote, that scene really sprang out of my imagination in our conversations. When you read a comic book, some of the pages have 8 drawings, some of them have 16, some have 4, and then every now and then they'll give the villain one full page drawing. I kept asking the writers and directors if it was a comic book, what would his full page drawing be? And they're like, what do you think it was? I started really meditating on that. And I started thinking about spiritual people who go crazy, get mad on their own spiritual pride, and how often that turns inwards. And you see that they're secretly
Mm.
self lacerating in some way and hating themselves because we all have sin. And the idea that somebody is free of sin is not really possible if you're human. And so, with the
Sure.
self hatred and the turning inward, I had this image of him listening to a hymn while he put broken glass in his shoes that he hid from other people. I knew he had a cane, and I kept saying, wait, I have a cane. Do I have a limp? And they're like, no, you don't have a limp. And I thought, ah, I know why he has a cane. So I told them this idea. And that is what I mean about what was so surprising about Marvel. They're like, yeah, let's shoot that. That's a great idea. Let's open the show with that. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess these guys do want to play. So it literally came from him having a cane and subconsciously limping,
Yeah, that's smart.
All
and
right,
them being like,
that's
"No," and
cool.
him saying, "Well, maybe he's punishing
Turns out
himself with
this
glass in his shoes."
man. I hope Ethan doesn't die at the end of this. I
Well, I
really
mean,
like
he
him as an
clearly
actor. He's
cares.
so good.
Yeah.
He's so
Well,
good.
he's clearly thought about this because I think a
Yeah,
lot of people, when they do a Marvel movie or an MCU movie, they almost write it off. Like, I've seen actors that in
yeah,
other stuff are great that they clearly just don't take it seriously because you have so many directors like Scorsese that just dunk on these films, shit on these films, and talk about how they're, you know, for the lowest common denominator because 'cause they're big art house guys or whatever.
yeah,
Um and with Ethan Hawke, based off of that interview and based off his performance, it's clear that he's taken the time to think about, well, what makes comic book villains compelling or interesting, and how do I bring that into this role? So, I mean, as much as it might, that doesn't mean it debunks your theory, Jesse, that he does it so that he can maintain control of a consciousness. That doesn't necessarily debunk that,
Sure.
although it kind of seems like it might. But it is cool that he's like, "Well, why the hell would he walk with a cane?" Like,
yeah.
"Oh, it's a relic."
Mhm.
Yeah, but, like, why a cane?
I like that. I think that's
Like,
great.
'cause yeah, no, it's a really cool touch. I'm happy I read it because 'cause I'm like, "Oh." But I do think we might be overanalyzing that part of it. I don't think we're overanalyzing the Anubis thing.
There's something
I
going
don't
on
think
with
we're
him. Yeah.
overanalyzing.
Someone in
And I know
chat
people are like, "Oh, well, the scales are the entire image of the cult," but, like, that's an Anubis thing.
Someone in
He
chat
literally
Yeah.
holds the
did
scales.
say that there was a Anubis like stone figure in the like little hall of the gods that they saw when they were doing like the panning shots of
Really?
him walking in there. So Anubis might be like stuck in stone as well already. But
Okay,
I
the
did not
part
see an
that
image of it, so I don't know if it
has
was
been
confirmed.
the part that's been bothering me forever, that I still haven't gone back and done, is there's a scene where Stephen Grant literally says, like, "Oh, but you're missing 2." And it's like, "Oh, is that just him being nerdy?" What if 2 of them are in prison? What if Amit and Anubis, I need to go back and check. If you know, he
Could be.
literally says, "Oh, but you're missing 2 of them," and in his cute little Stephen Grant voice. And I was like, "Okay." Immediately I clued in on that. I'm like, "Which 2 are missing?" Like,
Well, one of them was
I didn't have a
Conchu.
chance.
No,
One
Conchus
of them was
wouldn't be a part of the 9.
I
Like
think
in
that's
that
what
like a
Steven was
great like
saying.
no,
the
no, no.
ending.
It
Verbatim.
like in that no, in that like Steven wouldn't know about Conchu at that point. In that in that scene when he
Pretty
goes
sure he
into the chamber
did.
and has all the gods and their like avatars that would be there, Conchu wouldn't be, like, Conchu isn't a main 9. He's not part of the crew.
I
Uh
know that, yeah.
those are like the big ones. So Contra would report there, but he wouldn't have a spot at like one of the altars. The thing that's interesting is that a lot of them were not there. There were only 4, 5 maybe total that showed up. So like where are the others? And I think that's an interesting little tidbit of information that we don't know if they were like, are they busy? What were they doing? Are they stoned? Why are they stoned? I think that's like some deep lore that I would love to know about that. But yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
like there was like
I'm gonna go back and
there
watch and take a screenshot and, like,
Yeah.
have a mind to do it now.
like there
Because
was
if
the
Anubis is in stone, that that is interesting, right?
yeah.
Well, I mean, something's
Because then that
happened.
would mean that would mean that those are the 2 that are missing from the picture.
Yeah, could be.
I'm in Pepe Sylvia mode. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. Just
Jesse, are
I
you
don't know,
looking at
it's
something?
interesting to me.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to figure out what gods were present at the time, but a lot of it is just like, you know, clickbaity stuff that's like Marvel already teased how powerful Moon Knight's replacement will be. Like what? That's not even what I typed in.
What the fuck?
Okay, I have the frame. It says, oh gosh, if I pause it, it puts the thing up. It says Horus, Osiris. God damn it. It's like a really short scene. Horus, Osiris. I can't read it. Tetnut? Help me out, Jesse. You know more about this than I do.
I mean, do you have the list do you have who's in the scene?
No, because they barely show it. It's 7:14 in episode 1. I don't know if that can help.
Oh, damn. Yeah, it would be the main ones are Atum and Shu and Tef Newt and Geb and Newt and Osiris and Isis and Set and Sephites, something like that.
Okay, they've got Tefnut, they've got Horus, they've got Osiris, and then he doesn't hold up the rest of the picture because she tells him he's an idiot. But I'm curious on.
Yeah, the people that show up at the meeting, I think, were Osiris and
Hathor
Isis.
is on there.
Yeah, but Hathor isn't listed as part of the 9.
She is on this poster.
Interesting. So that's changed lore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably some changed lore. This is the shot at the end, and let me see specifically. This is what's shown in the end credits. Stone wise.
Interesting. Yeah. Look at that. Yep, Anubis straight up just stone.
But I don't know if
There's
this
our boy
is
Keck.
I don't know if these are like gods that are imprisoned in stone or if this is just some cool imagery, right? Like I don't know what this actually means because this is end credit stuff. But it could be. It could be different gods
the god
that are
of Scarab.
imprisoned.
Sekhmet is there with the big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting because in Marvel lore, isn't Sekhmet like an offshoot of Hathor when Hathor comes down and is supposed to dispense justice and then like gets crazy with bloodlust and turns into Sekhmet and becomes like one of the gods of Wakanda? Isn't she like Bast's little sister?
Maybe.
I might be mixing the dreaming lore because all of these gods also appear in Neil Gaiman's Sandman.
In the comics,
No, I mean, and Sekhmet is
Sekhmet
like
Bast's
not
sister?
a friendly god, but
No,
I don't know
she's
in
like
Marvel
a god of war, but isn't it like an
Mm.
offshoot of Hathor?
it says in the comics,
doesn't
Sekhmet was
Hathor go
also
crazy?
referred to Hathor Sekhmet or the Lion God. She was the protector of the Lion Clan, a rival faction of her sister's Bast Panther Clan, and is an enemy of the Avengers. Also in the comics, Sekhmet is related to Khonshu.
Gotcha. Also, if you look up Sekhmet, a lot of the art is like of a sexy cat lady, and it was unexpected. That's all I'm saying. Unexpected.
Oh yeah, no,
Furries.
yeah. She's literally like Bast's little sister. Like
Wild.
and like I know that she like appears in some stuff in Wakanda, but she's like not a good guy. And it's like a creature driven, like it's like bloodlust and sex basically is like her deal versus like Hathor that's like love and fertility, whatever she was talking about.
Yeah.
Like a twisted version of her. So yeah, no, that's interesting then.
We'll see. I don't know if any of this is going to get answered in the next 3 episodes, but I really want to know what happens now that like he's lost the Moon Knight powers, right? Like Khonshu's gone. He can no longer summon the suit. I think that was implied at the end of that. So we'll see where the next episode goes.
So the ones that are still around in that scene that we saw are Horus, Isis, Tefnut, Osiris, and Hathor. So those are the only ones that we have at the moment that are like existing that aren't stone that show up at the meeting that we can verify.
Who was the guy, the like businessman who was, I think, bald, that like made him like put handcuffs on him or whatever with his fucking fingers? You know, what god was that?
I don't know. I would imagine it was either Isis or Osiris. I would imagine.
Okay. Well, we've got 3 different answers in chat, so they're not useful here. Okay, no, they're all saying Osiris now. Okay.
Yeah. I imagine it would be because Osiris is kind of like just like the general afterlife guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's like resurrection, yeah, that's me. I do that.
I thought
like
yeah.
So
he was cool. I also thought the Irish avatar was a little bit weird. Like
who was that? Who?
I don't know. He was to the left of whoever Osiris was. He spoke like 2 or 3 times, but he was definitely Irish, and that was really crazy to see. That was Horus. Okay. Yeah, that was wild. So we'll see. I thought I was fascinated by just the lore dump of like how all that stuff works. That all these people have avatars, that they keep it hidden away from the rest of humanity, and like that's why the gods were pissed at Khonshu, is because he revealed that someone's doing something, and they don't want to be like a thing. They don't want to be known. They're not going to interfere in any of this, which is kind of a callback to like the Eternals not wanting to interfere as well um, with the rest of humankind. So wondering if we get any more lore on any of that in the next 3 episodes, or if it's just going to focus primarily on
What
Moon
were
Knight.
the gods that show up in the final scene, Jesse?
They are Horus, Isis. So just off the gate, Horus, Isis, Osiris, they're all related.
Mhm.
Uh
Okay.
I believe Isis and Osiris. Is it Isis and Osiris? I think Isis and Osiris have a kid who is Horus, right? Because Set kills Osiris, and then Isis brings him back to life, and then they have
Mhm.
a kid, Horus. So those are the three there, and then Hathor and
Okay.
Tefnut is the other one,
Okay.
and so uh I mean,
So that's
yeah,
5, and that actually lines up with when they cast the spell, it's like a pentagon, right?
right, yes,
Yeah.
But he says, "By the breaking of the Ennead," or whatever, and that implies 9, because that word isn't just for a specific pantheon. I think that's, like, any group of 9 gods, isn't it?
I don't
I
know.
don't know, maybe it that's a great question. I don't know.
Really, I'm gonna look this up, because like, yeah, it implies 9, and that extends beyond Marvel lore, like, it always implies 9. It's a group of 9. According to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, Ennead is a group of 9.
Okay.
So, that's 5, right? Then you have Khonshu, then you have Amit, who's supposedly jailed. That still leaves 2 spots open. Who didn't show up to the council?
That's what I'm saying. There, and there's the image
And then
that
he
is in
says in
that
the
scene.
beginning, 2 are missing from the poster. So one like, that I don't know, y'all, that this is a bit strange.
Well, Bronze, if you look at the image itself, the shot of like when they walk into the chamber, it shows all the gods. There are 3 chairs and then another 3
Mhm.
chairs in the side. And
Mhm.
the 3 chairs in the middle, all 3 show up. And behind them, I'm looking at this image right now. Behind them, it has the images of their gods. Osiris, Horus, and Isis are behind them, right? And
Mhm.
then on the sides are 3 chairs, and behind them are giant figures of those deities as well. One is
Mhm.
clearly a crane, um, and
Ooh.
then one looks like a panther, so maybe that's Bast? Question mark. And then
Or
like I'm looking
Sekhmet.
at them. What now?
Or
Or I mean,
Sekhmet.
that's very true. There's I mean, here's the thing. Like even Tefnut is like a tigery thing. Like a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
hard to tell them
cats.
apart. Yeah, it could go either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, the crane
So
is top for sure. So that's I mean like that makes sense. What was that image JP that you had that had all of the ones that were gone?
This?
Yeah.
Well, this is just an end
That's not
credit.
that's not there.
We don't know if it means anything.
But, like, even
what
looking at it, you
happened to
don't see
Toth?
any, like you don't see like, yeah, you don't see that big ass, like, crane nose that interesting. So, yeah, I don't know. What could that
I
mean?
think that has I don't think they would say it in the first episode if it didn't mean something, you know what I mean? Because it's otherwise such a throwaway line where he says, "Oh, but 2 are missing here." And then we go to the actual, like, pyramid and 2 are missing there. Like, Stephen Grant is shockingly, like, more aware or has his uses equal to Mark Spector. I almost wish Stephen Grant was in that room because he probably would have been able to clock who the 2 missing were. Like, it's just I don't know, that's really interesting to me. That parallel, I feel like, is going to be important at some point.
Yeah, interesting.
And then Khonshu saying, like, "Well, he's a disgraced god who's being punished." Like, what is the nature of his punishment? He hasn't been stoned in the stone yet. I'm curious. He talks about being punished. Like, what
We
did
got
I miss
banished.
it?
His punishment was that he was banished.
Banished from the giant floating sky pyramid, space pyramid?
Yeah, banished from going in there. That's what he says. Like the last time I was there was when I was banished.
Gotcha.
But we don't know why. I don't think.
Because he wanted to interfere with humans and they didn't like it.
Oh
Think.
well, it was probably that he had his avatar, the former Moon Knight, straight up just murdering people. That's probably what it was.
Well, it seems like they don't care about murder so much as they care about not alerting humans to their presence, and he's got a dude that's out here
You
in
don't
a
think
cloak and a
murdering
cape
people
and
alerts people to their presence?
I think doing it a costume does. People murder all the
Yeah.
time, but I think doing it in a costume as a
Yeah.
superhero is a lot more flashy.
I
I'm
agree.
actually shocked that he's been operating for this long and none of the other superheroes in the MCU have said anything because he's
Yeah.
got supervillain vibes almost,
He does.
running around with these crescent. Granted, that's like my favorite part of the show is every fight scene.
Oh yeah,
And every
they're
time he
very
like
good.
flies in the suit, the cape turns into like a moon. I'm like, that's the shit I die for. I'm like, yes! Like all of his fight scenes as Moon Knight are crazy. Best part of the show. But
They're very good.
also just Oscar Isaac being Oscar Isaac. Sorry. I'm a fan. I love him. Even when he's like derpy, he's like, oh no. And then he goes back to like, I'm cool and suave and I have a hot wife. Like I love both versions of him.
Mark.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm like, do it. Both versions are
Man,
great.
I'm trying
But
to
I
like
do
get
think that
other
that 2
angles.
missing. Sorry, I probably sound like I'm obsessing over this point, but like that was only 5, and he specifies. He says something like by the breaking of the Ennead. He drops it as like a small word, and I'm like, but and I had a hunch and I looked it up. That always means group of 9. I don't think Marvel would name their pantheon group of 9 and have it be 5. Like that just doesn't make any sense. That means not 1, not 2, 4 are missing. 2 we know of. Khonshu is 1. Amit's imprisoned. They're gone. Who are the other 2? And where are they?
Yeah.
And
So-
why did no one mention their absence? You would think somebody would say, "Oh, so and so and so and so didn't show up." But it's almost like they're like not talking about it. Is one Anubis? I don't know. Anubis doesn't have a crane mouth. I don't know. At this point, I'm grasping at straws, chat. It's just I'm sus, as the kids would say. Something is fishy in the state of Denmark, and it's why are there only 7 gods accounted for out of 9? Ennead means 9.
So I'm trying to figure out that. So in the scene next to Tefnut, which is sort of the cat with the little sun above the head, there is just a dude who looks like an old school pharaoh, but I can't tell if there's ram horns or not. I don't know if this is supposed to be Shu, which is sort of like the god of air, but that person's not there. And then there is like thank God they do different shots of this scene where you can see like him checking out the different gods and looking over. Like there's one that is horns, and I don't know if that's like I don't know who the horn one is. There's someone with horns, and I have no clue who that is. But there's like there's maybe, maybe, but
There's too many
yeah,
Egyptian
it's
gods. What the hell? They're just naming things. You could be trolling me.
yeah. I mean, look, there's just to put a fine point on how confusing Egyptian mythology is. Like one of the gods that shows up at this meeting is technically the goddess of the moon, talking to Khonshu, who is the moon god. Just like throwing that out there. If you're like, there's like 8 cat gods. Yeah, that's true. Amit is basically a gator, but at the same time, so is I think it's
Renekton, right? That's what we're talking about.
Renekton?
Only like 5 people are going to get that joke.
Talking
It's
about a
okay.
League of Legends champion.
Sobek.
Sobek,
Sobek is the
yeah.
name of the
Oh, yeah.
other just I have a crocodile head. Like yeah, it's
And I think like there's also people that keep conflating this pantheon with like, or this mythology in the comics and in the MCU to like real mythology, and it's not the same. Like they've taken
Yeah,
Right.
a
they're
lot
playing
of
a little fast
liberties
and
with
loose.
it. Yeah, like
Mhm.
it's legitimately not the same because like they even kind of mention like they're in a floating galactic spaceship, y'all. Like that is
Yeah.
not Egyptian mythology whatsoever. So like you can't sit here. You can obviously draw some inferences, like we said, like we're talking about a lot of Anubis lore. So before someone says we're hypocrites, but like it's not going to be a one-to-one match. So it's like, well, in the actual pantheon, it's these 9 that are the main ones. I don't think that's gonna apply here necessarily because in this, it's kind of whatever they want. They can kind of pick and choose what they want to keep, what they want to change.
Yeah.
So we could be wrong about the Anubis thing. What really threw me off about the Anubis thing wasn't the technicality that he always holds the scales. It was him summoning a jackal. And and here's the thing. I thought it was a weird demon dog.
Well,
She like, he specifies it's a jackal. He calls it out as a jackal, and
it
that's where I was like,
it might just be a. Does he ever say who the cane is from or refers to? Because it might just be a cane of Anubis that he's using to summon
Yeah,
that
I
shit.
mean, it was a gift. It was a gift
Yeah.
from Amit, he says.
So it might be
I
just like Anubis's cane.
So the horn god is 100% Hathor. She walks over to it. The actress walks over and stands behind it. So that's who that is. That checks out. Yeah, and then the Thoth guy he doesn't have a face. His symbol is literally just a pharaoh with like a crane for a hat. So I guess that's who that's supposed to be. And then there's like one other dude who looks like a chess piece, and I can't figure out who the hell that's supposed to be, and it's freaking me out. But yeah, I mean, there's clearly several people missing, and the scene doesn't like tell us why they're not present.
Well, we're going back there eventually, and I'm sure we're going to see something else with the gods because he's got to go back and get Conchu at some point, right? Like he said, tell Mark
yeah, he said, "Tell him to get me back."
to get me back, so he knows some aspect of how to get there. Whether it's a random portal's going to open up because he was a prior avatar, or I don't know. He's going to have some bargaining chip with the gods, so we'll see that in the future episodes, whatever that
Well,
is.
there is a version of Mark Spector that gets lost in the desert that's a mercenary that is saved by Khonshu, right? So maybe that's the temple where he was found. I don't know. Maybe I'm, like, thinking too deep into it, but maybe that's why he knows a way in is because that's where he was saved by Khonshu.
Could be.
Sure. I mean, we still have an entire scene in a mental ward.
Yep.
We still have a scene where
I
we see Mark like getting shot falling backwards.
I think the
Like,
mental
What
ward
maybe
if
that's
the
a
probably.
mental
flashback.
ward is the end? What if the
No, I think
mental
that's
ward's the
episode
end?
5.
That would be ballsy as hell though
The
if
end
the
is
end of the
Jon
But
show was
Snow.
like,
imagine,
was he
like, how
crazy?
No, the end is Jon Snow or Blade. It has to be.
but
But
what
like,
if they
what if
went
they
that
had
dark?
balls though,
What if they're
JP?
like, yeah, what if they're like, they leave you like with this thing where like the reason he's not active in any of the MCU movies is because they think he's crazy and he's in a mental ward. They've done that. Like that could be a thing where it's
Maybe.
like, oh, he's locked up. And then
I
maybe one of the superheroes when it's time for him to join, you know, the team with Blade and stuff are like, I know someone who can help us. And they go to the mental ward and break him out like, we believe you.
maybe. We'll see. I
Or
don't know.
maybe they show him at the end in the mental ward where he's like, "Get me out of here," and then maybe it ends with Blade being like, "I believe you," and then they cut.
I think
I don't
episode
like
Yeah.
5
I
is
don't
the
like
moon or is the mental ward. I
I
think the
don't
end of
think he's
episode
gonna
4 is
end up in
thrown.
jail and break out in like
I think next
one episode.
episode we're gonna learn about Jake. I think the end of the episode he either admits himself into a mental institution because that idea that he got called out for being like unwell multiple times probably fucks with them. And then episode
That makes
5,
me so sad, by the way. Like, even when Harrow says, like, "You're broken," I'm like, "Y'all are being so cruel
well,
to
that's the
this
point.
guy."
That's the point. Yeah.
Like, it's a lot. It's like everybody at this point, and I'm like, "Man, I hope he murders all these people." For bully. No bully. No bully.
Maybe not.
You're so rude. Like, "You're broken. You're unwell. Your brain is damaged." Like,
hey, I
y'all,
believe you. I
It's not gonna
God's
I
happen.
gonna
now
have it.
need that
Watch
moment
it.
of just like,
Mahershala Ali
hey,
is gonna
I
have it.
believe
He'll
you.
be like, "I believe."
Mahershala's not gonna. gonna say.
Like, do you want to stay here? Do you want to come?
That's not gonna say.
Watch. It's gonna happen. It's
You
gonna
wanna go
happen.
murder
not
some
gonna
gods
happen.
with me? Come
All
on,
right.
Mark.
Let's do some shout-outs. Get out of here.
We're gonna go to space and save this man's girlfriend. He's like, oh,
Fight
hello.
Dracula.
I would
Sometimes I
like to
just
go
be
save my
saying shit.
girlfriend now.
I just want Steven
Sometimes
to
I just
interact
be
with the
saying shit.
Avengers. I don't want Mark to interact with the Avengers. I want Steven to interact with everyone else. That'd be great. That'd be great. Let's do some
Can you
shout-outs.
imagine him talking to
Alright.
Doctor Strange? I bet you they would have that nerd out moment that
Probably.
Iron Man and the Hulk had. I bet he'd have like, oh my god, isn't this relic? I've heard about this, and like imagine him in the you know.
In the comics, Steven's or alter ego of Moon Knight, Steven, is the wealthy one. He's like supremely wealthy. So maybe at the end of this,
And he funds all their crazy adventures. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he somehow gets all the money. I don't know. We'll see.
Just
Let's
imagine
go
him
to
nerding out
space
with
and
Doctor
save
Strange.
this man's
Oh.
girlfriend.
I see this cloak you have. This is quite rare, you know. That's French. Don't do that.
Oh, Bronze,
do
is
that.
that your image right now?
Hi,
Is
hello. I'm that bronze girl. Sorry. Sometimes I just be saying shit. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch, where I
Just be
stream
saying
like
shit.
5 or 6 days a week. That's it. That's me.
Awesome. Jesse, some shout outs.
All I want now is that man to be like, oh, am I crazy? I don't know. He's like, you're not crazy. I believe you. And then the guy's like, we've got to save my girlfriend. She's in space. I don't know why he sounds like a Beatle. But he's like, we've got to go to spy. And he's like, pulls out a sword. And he's like, oh, I know that sword. It's my favorite. And then they're like, these accents are terrible. And then they go beat bad guys together.
These accents are terrible.
Yeah, that's what he would say. He's like, you guys have terrible accents.
Here's the question to end the show.
Yeah.
Who plays Dracula in the MCU?
Who plays Dracula? Nicolas fucking Cage.
By the way,
you're welcome.
My compressor
You're welcome,
stopped
MCU.
any sense of volume increase there by taking your boom off. So that was just
you're welcome,
dramatic.
MCU.
Can I talk about who I want to play Dracula?
I would want a man by the name of Jared Leto to play Dracula.
Get the fuck out of
For the
here.
biggest goof factor.
Oh.
Or as El Zilcho has a great idea, Christopher Walken. That'd be pretty good.
My ideal casting for Dracula goes back to an old cult classic film that I only discovered in my adulthood by one Coppola, and that is Gary Oldman as Dracula. That's all I'm gonna say.
Not bad. That's not bad.
He would kill it. He's done it before. It would be a callback to an old amazing movie with Keanu Reeves. I just feel that would be a fun person to play that role, especially because he's so the blood of Dracula flows in my veins. Like he would be doing all that craziness. I would be like, yes, sir.
I would like Gary Oldman in the MCU.
Yeah.
But I'd like him in a role that doesn't have him like be murdered immediately.
Yeah.
Like I want him. Yeah, if anyone deserves an MCU role, it is 100% Oldman. That man
He's earned it. That man eats up every role he gets, whether it's from the Fifth Element to Batman. That man,
he should just be a watcher, though. You know,
he should be something. He's old though. So is Dracula. So is Dracula is not young.
Also, Gary Oldman can play any age. That man was playing old people when he was young. He was playing young people when he's old. That man is an actor. He's a chameleon. I love him. Love him.
I'm also going to
with you on this.
Danny DeVito as Dracula. So you just walk around and say, so I started sucking. That'd be pretty funny. That'd be a good goof.
So then I started sucking. Yeah. Like, Dracula, how did you come to be? So then I started sucking. They call me the Throatmaster.
The Throatmaster, throat goat. Bringing it back in around 2 hours in.
Cut the show. Cut the show.
We're done. We're done. I got to go get some more tea from my throat. That's the throat goat activity right there. Everyone knows that. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see you guys next week. What is next week? Yeah, I'm still here. We've talked about this before. Am I gone
You are gone the
I'm gone the
Monday
9th.
after. Yeah, you're gone
So
the
I'm gonna
Monday
miss-
after the.
I'm gonna miss Doctor Strange and episode 6. We got to do a show on that Sunday. I'm gonna
We
keep
got to
saying
do a
it.
show on that Sunday.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
we
have to be
to.
a Sunday
Required.
spectacular
Yeah.
show. All right, we're out of here. Thank you guys for watching. We'll let you know what we're doing on May the 8th, May the 9th, whatever. For now, though, we're out. Thanks for watching the MCU Crew. We're out of here. Bye.